Good afternoon and good morning. This is Chris Criollo with BMC Software. I am an account manager on the Trackit team. Today is day 3 of our live webinar training series that BMC has partnered with RJR Innovations, our premier Trackit partner. RJR provides both consulting and professional services on upgrades and professional service engagements. Today's focus will be on multi-tenancy, which is really one of the more pronounced advancements with the browser-based version of Trackit, compared to previous iterations, specifically 11.4 and previous. Now Trackit has the ability to take advantage of multi-tenancy, and RJR team includes both Sam Malouf, senior account executive, and Mike Johnson, who will be leading the demonstration and be able to answer your questions. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to them, and I appreciate everyone jumping on today to take time to take a look at this new feature in the browser-based version of Trackit.
All right, well, hey, howdy all. This is Mike Johnson. I am the consultant for the Trackit side here at RJR Innovations. RJR, we are a partner for BMC Software. We've been around since 2004, founded in Ottawa, Canada. We sell and support and provide consulting exclusively for BMC software products. We're also a level 1 support provider, bilingual in English and French. 24/7 extended emergency on-site support is also available. Our mission is to continue to build solid long-term relationships with our clients based on our professional, friendly, and expert advice. And today we will be looking at Trackit for multi-tenancy. All right, so some changes to Trackit. A couple of the big ones obviously are it's web only. And Nick or somebody, if you can move me on to the next slide. There we go. Some folks have probably on the call have probably done this in the 11.4 and earlier versions of Trackit. You can kind of fake it by creating an account, a technician account that does not have a login. You use it to create what we call a queue. So there are some shenanigans you can put into play to kind of pretend you have groups. You no longer need to pretend because there are actual groups in the new version of Trackit. We're going to take a look at how you set up groups and configure them and what they can do for you and how you can manage security policies. We're going to take a look at custom ticket views. So the tickets in the 11.4 version are static. You can change labels on the tickets, but you can't change what's on tab A versus what's on tab B. You can't move fields between tabs. You're pretty static in the way that layout is, and it's completely dynamic in the new build of Trackit. That can be helpful as you introduce and start to have different teams using Trackit for their efforts. A lot of the potential problems in earlier versions of Trackit were an organization that maybe wanted a customer service or a facilities team to jump in and start using Trackit to manage their efforts. And that team just kind of looked at Trackit and decided it was too big, too complicated. You can vastly simplify the ticket form itself for that group. So you can have a complex form where you need it for the more IT help desk side, but simplified forms with a different layout for other groups that you have within Trackit. Email monitor, notification enhancements around multiple workflows. So it's a lot more dynamic as you set up business rules and SLAs versus event policies, skill routing policies, and email monitor policies in the older version of Trackit. You had the ability to monitor more than one email address, but again, there was some shenanigans you needed to employ to make that happen. It's largely shenanigan free now. If you want to monitor more than one email address for inbound emails, you simply set up the second, third, fourth, however many email addresses you have. Very easy to set up. Parent ticket child assignment workflows. This is great as you create templates. We've expanded that functionality quite a bit in the new build as well. You can have templates that automatically kick off that have child tickets or assignments in Trackit parlance, and they can kick off in a specified order rather than having all the assignments kick off at once. So there is a lot of good new stuff in the new build of Trackit, and a lot of it revolves around improved workflows, more dynamics. So in a lot of areas, you're going to be able to simplify your workflow, but in those areas where you need a more complex workflow, you will also be able to do that. And at that, I'm going to go ahead and share out my desktop. Hold on. We'll get there. Zoom, share. I cannot share while the other participant is sharing. Hold on, let's try it. There we go. And I am shared. And how about we look at Trackit? There we go. Of course, you're on the other monitor. Having some storms down here in my area. I am not in Canada. I am in the Tampa Bay area down here in Florida. While Canada's getting snow, we're getting thunderstorms. Of course, that's how it goes. So right off the top, you are going to notice groups. All right. So I happen to be a technician that is in multiple groups. If I were a technician that was only in the help desk, then I would only see help desk in the drop down. In fact, if I were using integrated authentication, I wouldn't even be stopped here. I would just automatically get logged in since I'm only in one group. If you're using integrated authentication and you're a technician that is in more than one group, then you will be stopped here to select which group you want to log into. All right, you could have different rights in different groups, and I'll show a little bit of the security. I'm just going to log into the system administration group. That's my go-to. That's where I have all my cool demo stuff set up. And we're going to show groups themselves to start off with. And of course, I'm going to be a little bit slow. I'll end up showing a little bit of my VM. I left off in the help desk module, so that's where I've come back to. And I will come back to this. But first, we're going to start over here in configuration. Your navigation is going to be primarily via your hamburger menu up here at the top left. All right, so you see your technicians, you see your requesters, see email configuration, and you see groups. All right, so you can have as many groups as you want. Out of the box, you have system administration and you have help desk. All right, the idea is that you would have your desktop support type group, and that would be your help desk group, and your system administration group, which would be your higher level permissions and networking and stuff like that. You might be organized that way, you might not. You might just be a pure help desk, which is perfectly fine. You might want to then add a facilities team. These are all groups that have been commonly added by Trackit users. Purchasing group separated out, a project management group, a marketing group, an HR group, an accounting group. I've talked to more than one organization that has had these particular groups. XYZ Help Desk versus Acme Help Desk. We have a number of organizations that are managed service providers that want their help desk laid out that way. That is not uncommon, and that works much better in the new build than it ever did in the old build. It was a bit of a stretch for a managed service provider in the old build, but it works really well now. When you go into any individual group, let's just go into the project management group. All right. You have your basics here. You have the ability to add a technician to a group. And you will also have the ability from a technician to add a group to a technician. So you can come at it from both directions. Well, what do I want to add this technician to? These are the groups that the technician is no longer a member of, or not a member of. So by default, this particular technician can only see tickets and such that are associated to the group of which they have membership. All right. When we talk about permissions, you could also have different permission levels for different groups. So in the help desk group, we take a look at advanced permissions. I have pretty much everything but delete rights across the board. And I'm going to adjust that because I don't need to be able to delete software license titles either within the help desk group. And let's go ahead and save that to commit that. Let's go back in. But you will see if I go into the project management group here, I have very much more limited rights. So this is how you can get granular and what sorts of rights you have in each groups. And right now I'm not a member of the HR group, so you don't see that in the drop down. So by default, I don't really have any access to that at all. If you have a need and desire to get more granular than both the basic permissions here and the advanced permissions here, you also have the ability to come in here, and this is my VM, and I'm just going to bring this up real quick. Logins, and nope. This is the one I want. All right, so I cannot connect to this while I have everything up and running, but this is the data segregation utility if you see up there at the top, Trackit data segregation. This allows you to get very, very granular in what rights technician A has to everything across the board in the system. So if you need some sort of specialized permissions, this person needs access to this or that, but not for this or that. And you need to get more granular than what you have in permissions or advanced permissions within the UI, you can go into the data segregation utility. And that allows you to keep that separation. Now, when we talk about email configuration, to the degree to which any of you're using email to create inbound tickets, all right, you have this here, which is incoming and outgoing emails. You see, I have one for facilities, one for HR, test, one for support for multiple different domains that we're monitoring. And this allows you to have a utility in which you can automatically route a ticket to group A versus group B. All right. So, and it is much easier to set up than the old build. You simply set up the email address that you wish to monitor. Okay. Let's show this from real quick. I want to show this from self-service web because I think this is kind of important. I'm going to log into self-service web real quick. I'm hoping that all of you, or a lot of you anyway, at least, are using self-service web. You can get a fair bit of automation out of inbound email processing, but you're never going to get as much as you can out of self-service web. Again, in my build, I'm doing a manual login. In yours, you probably won't do a whole lot of that. Having multiple groups serving different functions within Trackit really allows you to centralize things. So the idea is that you have a single source for any end user to go to for any problem, question, or request. All right, so I can come in here and my particular categories are designed around that. I have a facilities question or problem. I'm reporting a power outage, or I'm reporting an infrastructure change I need, or I'm reporting an HVAC problem or outage, or I have a help desk question. It's I need to borrow something, or it's a problem or a question, or I need to purchase something, or I have a question for HR. It's related to benefits, something confidential, or I'm a hiring manager and I have a new hire request. And then that kind of segues me nicely into common requests. And common requests are the subset of ticket templates that you create within Trackit that may be complex or simple and may kick off multiple assignments or child tickets. And then the end user can select those if you've made those available to them by simply selecting from there. From their perspective, it's still a pretty simple ticket. It just autofills the category there. But on the Trackit side, from a technician standpoint, what you get is you get a ticket with multiple child tickets built into it automatically. So we keep it simple from an end user perspective. It gets more complex when it hits the Trackit side of things as a technician. Again, very simple form. I like to keep a simple layout here. Really, all I wanted to show here from self-service web, so we will minimize that and get that back out of the way. Now I'm going to come back over here to help desk. Nope, help desk here. My form that I see as a technician in system administration is this one right here. Now, this is modified from the default. This is not the default out of the box form. Mine is actually a little bit more complex than that, and it largely revolves around doing a bit more from a change management perspective, if any of you are using that, as well as a purchasing perspective. Remember, purchasing is a module that is still available in Trackit. All right. So here you see my ticket form. Again, I've expanded the additional information for particular reasons in my environment. I've moved some of the stuff over to the left side, solutions and change information. Wherever you see these little arrows, it allows you to get to that related data. So that puts me into the change request. This here puts me into the solution detail. All right, this down here under purchasing, this puts me into the purchase order that's associated with this particular ticket. All right, and then I have a couple of custom fields set in here. This ticket form is a little bit more complex. Again, you're going to have the ability to make a much simplified form. You're also going to be able to have a different print layout when you print the ticket, if that's something that you do. So you have a lot of control here, right? And that takes me back over here to configuration and form definitions. All right, form customization. This is what your different forms look like. By the default form, all right, when you first install Trackit, is going to be this one here. All right, mine's got a bit different name, but forget about that. This is the default layout. So usually what I suggest here is start here. All right, figure out what you don't need. Simplify first before you add anything back in. Don't really use alternate email? Great. Highlight that field, click the X in the top right, get rid of it. Poof, it's gone. Just like that. Don't need alternate phone, not something that you really use. or maybe you want to relabel the mobile phone, that's fine. I can also just hit the delete key on my keyboard, hit enter to say okay there, and poof, that field is also gone now. It's also got a little bit of a delay. I still think I need a browser cache clear. So remove fields you're not going to use. Wow. I'm gonna, or I have too many tabs open. One of the two. That one made me think it's too many tabs. Once you get rid of what you want, all right, you can, yeah, I know. Thank you. No. Okay. That'd be my impatience. All right, let's get rid of alternate email. Let's get rid of alternate phone. Very nice of me. Once you've removed what you want to remove, you can simplify here. We'll get rid of the extension field. I'm going to get rid of that as well. And you can move stuff back up here and give yourself some more room. And maybe all you want to do there is create some room, some additional room for the additional information field. It's all drag and drop configuration. If you're not going to be using solutions, if you don't, well, you're probably going to be using solutions. If you're not going to be doing change or purchasing, you might remove that to economize on your form. I'm not going to save this. So I'm just going to close this and say not to save, just to give you an example of some simplified forms. Here is my customer service form. Again, you will notice that this is a much simpler layout. I've also created a dark information here in the bottom right, my summary information in the top left, and additional information here. If I didn't want additional information, I could lay this out and simplify it even further. And I've got a larger resolution field here. If somebody asks me, hey, can we just kind of put this front and center? And yeah, you can do that. There's a number of different ways to do that. So this is much more configurable. Well, it's configurable at all because the old version it was not really configurable. And then, you know, I have a number of different forms in here. I have ones for facilities and however many you want. Once you're there, you just decide, okay, which group gets which fields, which forms. So system administration gets the ticket plus cost form. All right. Help desk group, they're going to get the default ticket form. All right. Customer service, they're going to get the customer service form. You will notice that you also have custom forms for assignments, solutions, assets, change requests, purchasing, to include master items and software licenses. So fully customizable across the board. Now, when we talk about templates in the sense that you might think about them in 11.4 and earlier, which would be in older parlance work order templates, that's what we're talking about here. All right. So this could be a new hire template, which is one of the ones that I often talk about. And maybe you have a new hire template for each group or each team or department in your organization. So you might have new hire accounting, new hire engineering, new hire marketing, new hire sales, whatever the case may be. And you might have a number of child tickets or assignments in Trackit speak that go to different groups for different parts of the new hire process for that particular department. All right. What you could not do in your old build, which is often frustrating for people, is that if you had 6 or 8 or 10 child tickets or assignments on a ticket, they all get kicked off all at once. And whoever had the last one in order just kind of had to manually keep an eye on the ticket itself, on the parent, to see, well, okay, are these 4 done yet? Can I start my part yet? What you can do now is you can actually order these. All right. So if you take a look at this assignment, all right, template, all right, which is configure new hire workstation. Obviously, this is something I cannot do until that workstation exists. Can't configure it if it hasn't been ordered, if it hasn't arrived. I have nothing to configure, right? So it's kind of a waste to have that ticket kicked off immediately at the same time as everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to kick off after the other prerequisites are fulfilled and complete. Sorry for the delays here as I try to talk around this. I really do think there's too many tabs open at this point. Anyway, so you will see this is an assignment, configure new hire workstation. All right, here are the fields that I'm presetting. This is a little bit different layout than the previous version as well. And I have predecessors and successors. If I select the correct associated ticket new hire, you will see that there are 2 predecessor assignments for this. What this means is that Assign a location and accounting share access. These two must be completed before this one kicks off. So this ticket might have 8 or 10 or however many child tickets, but for this particular assignment's case, it's not going to exist right away when the parent is kicked off. It's not going to exist until these two assignments are worked to completion and closed. Once these two are worked to completion and closed, this one will kick off automatically. And then once configure new hire workstation is completed and closed, it will kick off the successor, which is assign a phone for the new hire. So you can now order these and put these in a specific order. That also helps you with quite a bit with advanced workflows as you're working through Trackit. Okay. Now, one of the other areas where we really expand you quite a bit and giving you some granularity and workflow is the replacement workflow engine. All right. And that is SLAs and business rules. Old Trackit, you had event policies, you had skill routing policies, and you had email monitor policies. New build of Trackit, you have business rules and you have service level agreements. All right. Business rules are fairly straightforward. If this, then that rules within Trackit. All right. And this says that if a ticket, all right, comes in, let's say facilities email. All right. So we're going to take a look at this one. If an email comes in, email received, when email received, and it does not contain all that, but it does contain the to address equals facilities, what am I going to do as a result? That's going to be my actions. I'm going to create a ticket. All right. And these are the fields that I'm going to set. These are pretty much the defaults, except I've added 3 things. I'm automatically assigning it to the facilities group. I'm categorizing it as a facilities ticket. I'm prioritizing it as medium. So unlike old build of Trackit, because this email came into facilities, I am doing a few things automatically. It's just saving you a few steps when that ticket's created. It's automatically assigning it to the facilities group, so that you don't have to worry about somebody looking at it, clearing it, and realizing, oh, this is a facilities ticket. I need to assign it to a facilities group or facilities person. This will happen automatically now. All right. Now, what else am I doing? I'm sending a notification with details. I'm actually sending 2, but in this case, what am I doing? I'm sending it to the facilities group. There's something else that's different. I don't have to have a distribution address here. Since I'm sending this email to the facilities group, any technician that is a member of the facilities group is going to get this email automatically. You do not have to use a distribution list for this. All right. And then just like old Trackit, you can configure exactly what's going to be in that specific notification. Now, if I want something a little bit different to go on, if it's default email, I can do that here. So what's different here? Well, for starters, in this one, when this ticket gets created, all right, what are my default actions? In this case, I'm assigning it to the help desk group. I'm not setting the priority or anything like that. I'm just assigning it to the help desk. That's going to be some evaluation the way I want mine set up. Now, what are my actions? Oh, nope, that's not what I want. This is what I want. Send notification with details. In this case, the email is going to the help desk. And I'm just putting some really bare bones basics here in the subject. I'm not really putting anything in the body of the email because I've just decided that's not what this team needs. Just quick email to let them know, hey, new ticket just came in. This is not something you can do in Trackit, in your old version of Trackit anyway. You can send an open ticket notification and you can alert somebody, but it's the same notification regardless of group. You can have different verbiage in different notifications to different groups within Trackit. You can have a different notification for a different situation within a single group in Trackit if that's a need, if that's something that you require. All right. This allows you to add an awful lot more granularity into what you're doing. SLAs are going to be the same thing in Trackit. All right. SLAs, big difference between SLAs and business rules in Trackit is that SLAs are time-based. It's not immediate if this, then that. If this policy, if this service level agreement applies, critical, we're going to tie it to the critical priority. So far, so good, pretty straightforward. Your times are tied directly to your priorities. And then when is it going to apply? What's my criteria? Well, if the priority equals critical, then this is going to apply. That's a no-brainer, right? Priority is critical, the goal is critical, and the SLA name is critical. Really straightforward. If the category full path contains the word outage, well, look at that. Not only am I able to do category full path as opposed to category, all right, this allows you to get a little bit more flexible, it allows you to simplify. your configuration. It's really much more intuitive than the old bill. If the category full path contains the word outage, in my case, that's HVAC outage, power outage, email outage, internet outage, anything that contains the word outage anywhere in the category path, this policy is going to apply. If the department of the requester is the executive department, this policy is going to apply. And this could be, you could have one for facilities, and you could have any sorts of other different ways to do this. You can have SLAs that are different for different groups. Perfectly fine, and you can have as many or as few of these as you want. Always keep it as simple as you possibly can, but in those areas where you do need some more granular work, you can do that. So then things are going to happen based on time triggers, which we call milestones. It's either an available time before a known time or an elapsed time since a known time. In this case, it's the available time before. The expected due date and time reaches 0 days, 0 hours, and 30 minutes. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to send a notification. That's going to have this information in it. It's going to go to the group that's assigned, the technician that's assigned. It's going to go to these additional people, and it's going to also go to the CC and the BCC on the ticket, as well as the requester for the ticket. Now, you probably wouldn't do it like that, but this is just kind of my be-all, end-all example. I'm also updating the ticket at this particular point in time. What am I doing? I'm reassigning it to the administrator. Now, that's something that an event policy did in the old version of Trackit. Okay, you had two key things you could do. You could send a notification, and you could do an escalation. An escalation is essentially a reassignment automatically of the ticket to whoever the escalation manager was for that particular person or that group, which you didn't really truly have groups anyway, but if you were faking it, you could kind of fake that as well. Here, that doesn't need to be the case. You can get a little bit more specific in who this ticket gets assigned to. Oftentimes, folks also said, "Hey, can I, set the priority to critical, or can I reset it to a status of open?" And the answer was always no in the old build. New build, yeah, you can do whatever you want. You could alter the ticket anyway in any of these time triggers or milestones. In this case, I'm resetting the status to open, changing the priority to critical because I already set the critical. And at some point, somebody asked, "Hey, can I put some custom text in the custom text field?" Absolutely. In this case, I'm putting the word platypus in the custom text for field. Why platypus? Why not platypus? I like choosing funny Australian animals for my examples because it's whimsical and fun for me, and it tends to stick out a little bit better, and you guys remember. All right. So the business rules and SLAs in the new build of Trackit really also are an extension of and make it really easier for you to handle and deal with multi-tenancy, because team A is not team B. You're going to do things differently simultaneously. It's going to be pretty much the same from an end user perspective. If you're using email, yes, you might have different email addresses. That's a good way to put some automation behind email. If you're using self-service web, all the much better. They just select, why have I come here? And it's automatically going to go to the right group, but it gives your end users a single source to go to for asking questions, making requests, and reporting problems. All of your configuration here, this replaces the admin console in the old version of Trackit. It's much simpler. It's laid out in logical areas. You don't have purchasing and help desk in two different locations. Is it a lookup for help desk, or is it a configuration for help desk? Much simpler than that. If you look at all up here, if I click on the all node, this is all of my configuration settings all here on one page. All right. Back over here to application settings, you can still do scheduled tickets. This is particularly helpful for IT as well as facilities. You might do routine server maintenance. It's great to have a scheduled ticket for that. You might do routine air conditioning maintenance if you have a facilities group. It's nice to have a scheduled ticket for that. You can have scheduled reports. You can have scheduled jobs, all kinds of cool, nice stuff you can do here. It all starts and revolves around groups. Groups is your key for multi-tenancy. And then you have permissions for each individual technician that can vary a little bit group to group. And then if you really need to get super granular, you can go into the data segregation utility to do that. Any questions you have there, you can go to tech support. Any questions or deeper assistance you feel like you might need, definitely talk to us here and we can get you going down the right road. What we do is we'd have a quick follow-up call, get an idea of what it is that you want to do, and give you a recommendation as to how much time and how we would lay out that training and consulting. We'd be happy to help you quickly get up and going on that and get you on your road. At that, I am going to unshare. I'm going to start taking taking a look at Q&A. And I think I have, nope, that's not what I want. This is what I want. If you go ahead and share the last page of the slide. Yay, there we go. Here's a really super easy way to get in touch with info@rjrinnovations.com. Good way to get in touch with us. You're also welcome to email any of us at any point in time, call us. I think all our information is out there and available to you.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be sending a thank you email to everybody with the webinar information, as well as my information as an account executive. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions regarding any of the 3 webinars that went through today. We'd like to thank you. So we'll wait a couple of minutes to answer up all the questions. If you have more questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask right now in the Q&A session. And thank you again. We'll mute ourselves, answer the questions. Have yourself a great weekend, as well as a great holiday, and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay, Mike here still, and since I inadvertently clicked on the wrong thing, Chloe, I hope you're still on the phone with us. Actually, if somebody could unmute Chloe or check that she's there, one or the other, we could talk through this one. I was going to type, but of course I clicked the wrong button.
I'm here.
Hey, Chloe.
Hi.
So I see your question about groups. The easiest way to do that is you have, let's say you have a group, and just to keep it super simple, and you call that group management. And then you have another group called help desk. So you can have the parent ticket assigned to the management group, and then the child tasks or assignments would be assigned to members of the help desk group. And the help desk group simply doesn't have rights to the management group. Ergo, they can't close the parent because they don't have rights to.
Okay, so they just need to take away their rights to the tickets.
Yeah, that's by far the easiest way to do it, and actually probably the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
But it's not a bad way to lay it out. You could have a group, and depending on what you envision for the setup, it could be a group called Human Resources or HR that owns the parent, and then child tickets are facilities and help desk and whatever other groups that you have.
Okay, we've got a few of them like that, so I was just wondering.
Okay. Are you doing this now? Are you on the current version of Trackit, the 2022?
Yes.
Right on. And again, keep in mind, if you do, want any deeper help, if you look at it, and if it's something, if you look at it, even if it's something where you think, well, this is going to take me weeks or months to set up and would be nice to get it done in a day or two, that's what we're here for.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, separate IT related.
Hello.
Hello?
This is Jason.
Hey, Jason, somebody made you live. Hi. You have
Hi.
lots of questions.
Oh yeah, I do.
So they're kind of, I'm trying to answer them in line, but you're adding to them as I go, and I've gotten lost, I think. So
Sorry.
you did you see my answer about the so you have a ticket comes in that requires approval, but your techs aren't paying attention to that, and they're going ahead and doing the work anyways. Did I understand that correctly?
Well, we tried to do it with change management for our facilities team, and everything looked to be okay for a week or so into it, until one ticket or one change management ticket came in that wasn't fully approved, and the technician that that was visible to the technician, the ticket that was visible to the technician was done and completed before it was formally approved.
Okay. So if you want to prevent that, don't do that. And here's what I mean there. You can have a ticket come in that has approval, and you can have it assigned to Joe Manager. It's not assigned to Joe Tech, it's assigned to Joe Manager. And it does never get assigned to Joe Tech until it's approved. So make sure that Joe Tech doesn't see it, doesn't know it exists. And then once it's approved, you can have another business rule that automatically reassigns it either to the group or to an individual technician.
That makes sense.
So you can do that. And then your other questions here, try to track it web is what I should have mentioned before. Can you expand upon the rest of that there?
Yeah, so we're also trying to find a way to separate the self-service page with, IT on one page or one site versus the facilities tickets and requests on the other site.
Oh, so you
Instead
want
of,
two different pages.
if possible. I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone ever asked that before, but
Yeah, it has been asked, and it's not a thing in Trackit. Trackit is just a single page. The only
Okay.
thing that really differentiates, so look at this really to vastly oversimplify from an end user perspective. I have a problem. Oh my gosh, I have a problem. I'm not a tech of any sort. I don't know what to do. Where do I go? Self-service. Great. What is my problem? Is it plumbing? Is it electrical? Is it my computer's not working? What's my problem? What's my question? I click the drop down a category and then I select. That's what differentiates the category.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
we're trying to make that, as separate as possible, but we've kind of, especially with a lot of changeover, we've finally got a steady, smooth mix right now, but it would be nice to have that, but right now we're okay. But
if you feel like you want something a little bit more dynamic, and let me add the caveat in here right up front, and you have money to spend for it, you could talk to us about footprints. I won't bury the lead there. I'll just be right up front about that. Footprints allows for much more dynamics within self-service web. So you could have a different page. It also gives you a service catalog where you have pretty pictures you can click on. Trackit doesn't do that. Footprints does. Footprints tends to be, just from a pure tech perspective, about 2 to 3 times the cost, but it all depends on what's going to work best for your organization. It might be worth the money, it might not. I don't know.
wow.
Only you could decide.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to take a look at it. So essentially, Footprints is a complete replacement of Trackit. That will become our new ticketing management system.
Yeah, it would be a completely different system. Now you could port your tickets from as part of an engagement. If you were going to upgrade, you could get your tickets ported from Trackit over into Footprints. If you wanted to do that, you can always save old Trackit as archive data. If this is a road you want to travel, it would make sense probably to have a demo, discuss numbers and all that. But yeah, it's something. It's a path we can show you if it's something you're interested in.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to take a look at it.
So I would reach out to the info is the easiest, info@rjrinnovations.com. Send us an email, tell us how you want to schedule a Footprints demo, and we'd have the conversation.
Okay, cool. Well, I think the one last question I had for you was is there any new development in the Trackit mobile app?
I haven't heard about anything changing. I haven't heard about anything changing in mobile. Are you looking for a specific feature that's not there now?
Well, I hate to say it, I know you guys, you're not BMC, you represent or you're working for them, or we're not working for them, but you're doing a presentation for BMC, but
right.
I don't know if this is going to sound, just like a disparaging remark on BMC, but
hey,
definitely.
That's perfectly fine. State your opinion.
it leaves a lot to be desired. I'll say that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it smoothness? Is it function? Is it layout? What is it? Or is it all of the above?
I think it's a combination of layout, a functionality difference between what we're used to in the Trackit web application versus what we see in the mobile app. Because one thing that we wanted to do is find an easier way for our custodial staff in the facilities department or those that are out running around doing things to be able to quickly on their mobile device,
right,
respond to ticket requests, close tickets, put in notes. And the mobile app that we downloaded to test didn't really seem flexible enough, if that's the right term to use. It just,
I think to add a note is really easy because you go to an individual ticket and you have the quick add note button at the bottom.
yeah.
Excuse me. Once you get into closing a ticket, then you have to kind of go into full edit, and then you have to scroll to the field and you have to select change it from a status of open or in progress or whatever to the status of closed and then save it. So it's a few more steps doing it that way.
Yeah.
What might be easier and what might be more common and would kind of make sense would be to have a add note is probably fairly simple, but it might make sense to have another additional separate button just kind of on the surface that says close ticket. And then you could add note, close ticket, or just click close ticket and automatically pops up a resolution field, key it in and save, and then you're done. Is that something more like what you were thinking?
Maybe so, because a lot of times the staff, English is a second language, if that helps
Yeah,
kind of
sure. I'm with you.
So there's another, kind of issue, but I mean, we've been making strides in it. I'll say that.
Okay.
It's,
So I
go ahead.
would say either via communities, which is your best bet, honestly. In communities, you can put in enhancement requests, and then other people will vote on them. I would search first because it might be. I feel like there's a solid chance somebody's already put one in that you're talking about. That's similar. In which case, find it and vote on it. If not, if you don't find anything, put in a new one, and then it will start getting votes. Yours will be the first vote, of course, because you put it in. And then that's a large driver for the way BMC makes changes in the product based on number of votes and the requests the customers put in. You can always contact tech support directly and tell them you want that enhancement as well.
Okay.
So
cool.
Either way is available. We don't particularly have any say. we can give you consulting on what it does do already today, but we don't really have any. We don't really have anything towards what it may do in the future. So sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Well, I really appreciate it, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Again, don't hesitate to email us, info@rgrnovations.com and our website there, rgrnovations.com. Again, we're a vendor of BMC. We do implementation for all their types of softwares, from Trackit to Footprints to Remedy Helix, client management. So that's what we do. And we're here to assist. So feel free to reach out to us and we'll help you in any shape, form. If you want us to do a health check, if you want us to move you from your Trackit 11 to the latest, we can do so. Take a look at your client management instance, whatever it is, we're here to assist. Again, thank you for your time. Have yourself a great afternoon and have yourself a great holiday. Thank you. Bye.
All right.
Bye. Thanks, guys.